I am going to share today a tool to help you plan for your holiday gift giving if you do that. And this was developed, I think, 2 years ago actually by our own John Orland. This whole workflow, I'm going to demo it obviously, but it's documented in our community. You can see kind of what that content looks like here. Just search on holiday gift planner. So we're gonna right here. I have a very basic Tiller Money spreadsheet. I've just got a transactions tab with a couple of gifts I've already purchased that have come in through my feeds, and I've also got a category sheet. One thing I'm gonna want you to watch as we install this is there some of our templates or solutions in the Tiller Money Labs add-on have dependencies. One of the dependencies and kind of cool features of this solution is the ability to tag gifts and to sort of track them with a tags column. So as this solution installs, I want you to watch over to the right of column E. The tag solution will be added before we actually pull in the new sheet. So in the Tiller Money Labs add-on, I'm going to go to add a solution. And down here, I am going to find holiday gift planner. And again, you'll see the tags column get added with the sheet. So I'm adding that solution into my spreadsheet right now. So there's our tag solution. So as you guys know, or have obviously experienced at some point, gift giving can be kind of stressful. It's kind of like a project management. You've got like a brainstorming phase, a planning phase, an execution phase. And then just like project management, often you're kind of worried about staying on budget. And there's a lot of things to kind of pull together, and what we've really tried to do here is kind of create a tool where you can manage your project, the project of making everyone happy and giving them what they want. And so within this tool, you have space to kind of organize your thoughts, make a plan, track your progress, and also sort of see your budget as it evolves. And this is integrated with your transaction sheet, so you can kind of see your gifts kind of populate and what you're spending in real time through the Tiller Money integration. So the first thing we're going to do is put in some of our gift recipients. The first thing basically is just identify the people you want to give gifts to this season. So we're going to start with some members of our family here. We've got Greg and Marcia. And I have another sheet where I'm kind of pulling some of this here so that I don't have to type it all in. But let me just grab that from here and paste it right there. Whoa. Looks a little different. Oh, and also, sorry, I'm giving them each a budget. How much do I want to spend on this gift recipient? So the other ones I already put in 100. And then of course we can't forget Alice because she does all the hard work, and she gets more. You can see the gifts for all the kids are kind of equal. And one feature one thing we're already seeing here is we can look at what our budget is for this gift giving season. We've got $1,000 if we kind of spent up to our budget limit on each person. So the next step here is to go down and start to put in the ideas. Again, this is brainstorming. We haven't purchased these things yet. This is just a place to collect the ideas you have for each person that you want to give a gift to. So I think we should start with Alice. Again, she works really hard. We can designate to Alice. We can kind of guess it. What does that cost? Let's just say $450, and we can say here, what stage is this gift in? Is it an idea? Is it something we've purchased? Is it something wrapped and shipped? So you can basically track all the gifts you want to give all the way through the process of basically putting them under the tree or wherever you put them in your house. So we're going to say this is an idea. We've got a few other gifts that we want. We had an exciting experience with a tarantula with Peter. I think those are $25. We've got Marcia, really loves those footballs. No bad experiences there. Anyway, so got a problem. Let me just see what happened there. Okay, so then and then I've got some more stuff that I'm just going to drop in here. Let me see if I can pull this real quick, and then I will show you the rest of what's happening here. So paste. All right, so we've got gifts for many people on our list now, and we've got kind of estimated price of each gift. And most of these are ideas. You can see a couple of them I've actually already purchased. So I came into this sheet after I bought them on Amazon or wherever, and I marked them. I upgraded them from an idea to purchased or wrapped or shipped. Now, if we come up to the top of the sheet here, you're going to see now if I bought everything on the gift list, what would that add up to for each person? You can kind of see who needs a little bit more ideas, and who we're kind of over our budget on, and we can see how that all nets out against our budget right here. The next thing, sorry, one more thing I want to show you over here. I'm gonna hide this. Is you can also see the number of ideas for each person and purchase. This is a little confusing. I was trying to figure this out this morning as I was reviewing the sheet. The purchased actually looks at what you've purchased in the transaction sheet. So this is a little bit of a weird kind of behavior in the sheet, in that here we have nothing purchased, but here this one's actually tracking purchases from this part of the sheet. This is tracking purchases from our transaction sheet. So I apologize if that's a little confusing. But the next thing we can do that's pretty cool here is you can see here it says recipient used as a tag in the transaction sheet. So we can actually link our purchases in the transaction sheet with that tags column that got added by using exactly this name as a tag. So I have a couple of purchases that have already come in. I think this one was for Cindy, and again, it has to match exactly. So that's Cindy, and I think this was Bobby. Having trouble remembering the family's names here. So so now you can see here we've got 2 purchases for Bobby, 2 for Cindy, and you can also see that this value here, these values are coming right out of our transaction sheet. Based on basically those tags. So those are getting pulled in as we buy them. The last feature I want to show you is just that we have a kind of a query tool that's hidden here. If you click on this little plus here, it'll open up a group, and you can come in and kind of do a detail on a person. Like, let's just say you really went crazy with your brainstorm, had like 20 ideas for someone. You've only bought one thing. You want to review, like, what did I buy? What are the ideas again? We can click on somebody here. You can see all the recipients are here. We can click on Cindy, say, and here it'll show us, here are the ones we've purchased. We've purchased these 2. Here are the actual amounts out of our transaction sheet. And then here's the whole gift list. These were all the ideas I had for Cindy. You can see kind of what state they're in. So that's kind of the whole tool. It's kind of end-to-end project management for your holiday season. Heather, is there anything you want to add?
No, I think that was great. And
all right.
Clearly you know a little bit about the Brady Bunch, but
I watched a lot of TV as a kid. I forgot to mention, this is also a little bit helpful. We've got a summary up here that kind of populates as you go. But all that information is out here as well.
This is the gift planner extraordinaire. I've actually never really explored this sheet before, so I'm very impressed by what it can do. If I was still in my really buying gifts phase, I feel like I would really nerd out on this because I like to do project management-y type stuff. So that's really cool. And I think Katie agrees. She says amazing in the chat.
Well, that's good to hear, Katie.
Yeah. So that was everything you had for the demo, right?
Yeah, that's the whole demo.
Okay. So if you have questions, go ahead and get them in the Q&A. We'll take questions on this solution, or if you have other questions on other lab solutions, if we can answer them quickly, we'd be happy to do quick demos or answer their questions. Just while we're waiting for a couple questions to pop in there, Morgan says, this is great. Thank you. We are finishing our basement this year. And so the need for more granularity in our Christmas list management has increased. Yes, there you go. That's an interesting thought too, of just I know that was always my experience the last few years, was just I would just spend and spend and spend, to try to buy as many gifts as I could. But this gives you a way to really granularly plan it out and budget. So yeah, I think that's a good observation.
Looks like we have a question from Vernon.
Yeah, Vernon asks, I'm Vernon from United Arab Emirates. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Guess the way it's built, it can be used for tracking annual charity.
I think you definitely could do that. I have to imagine that there are probably simpler ways to track the charity giving, like for example, maybe just the tag sheet. I mean, because this is really kind of walking through I think some features this has with multiple gifts per person and kind of I think there are some features here in terms of identifying the charities you want and then kind of creating a budget for each. Those would be useful. I feel like some of the features we have down here, sure, you could just skip to purchased when you make a donation. That would work. but there might be a little bit more complexity kind of built in here than you would need to make charitable donations. Heather, do you have a sense of kind of what would be a solution that was just kind of simpler for that?
Mm-hmm. The tags doesn't incorporate any budgeting. So I think that, if you do want to get really granular about tracking and organizing your charitable donations, like this could definitely help. I mean, just the simple budgeting tools that are available in the foundation template, having a category maybe for each charity, and then it would be maybe in like a charities group, and then setting a budget per month. That's, really the simplest way, just the out of the box foundation template stuff. But if you do want to kind of track the granularity of the process of deciding I want to contribute and then actually going through all of it, it could be helpful. But yeah, I would agree. It's a little.
Vernon, one thing to remember is these tools are, spreadsheets. Once they're in your sheet, you can do whatever you want. So you can certainly make change the data validation here to be something more relevant. You could strip out sections that didn't serve your needs. But these solutions are often just kind of like starting points to go and make the thing you want more quickly.
For sure. Good question, though. All right. Cheryl asks, how can you do averaging to tend to put it in 1 month and spread it?
Do you think that's like a budget, like averaging over like November, December spending or something like that? Or do you think it's maybe, Cheryl, could you clarify your question? Is that specific to this sheet and kind of what the use case is, or is that more of a general Tiller question?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not exactly following, Cheryl, the context of what you mean. Like, is it specific to the gift planning, or do you mean just in general in like the foundation template, for example? So let us know a little more detail there, and we can come back to that question. Shannon asks, are the transactions entered manually, or can they be pulled in from the transaction sheet on the foundation template?
Yeah, so in this case, I mean, for this demo, I wrote these in manually, but yeah, the intent is that you would see the transactions come in via your feed subscription, and then you would probably just need to assign maybe a gift category if you wanted to, which actually the sheet doesn't use that. You could categorize as whatever, and then if you like the idea of using the tags to designate that to recipients, you would just need to enter that data. But the intent is definitely to work with your feed subscription.
Yeah, and in case you missed maybe the first part of the demo, Shannon, when he added the holiday planner sheet, the tags column was automatically added to the transaction sheet. And a lot of the columns in the transaction sheet you normally see, I think, are just hidden in this demo sheet. So definitely is intended to allow you to tag the recipient in your transaction sheet in the foundation template, and then that feeds into the holiday gift planner. All right, Vernon asks, just had a question. Allocating the gifting budget can be done based on income percent or savings percent. That would be a good approach. And query to check how much of the gifting percent of the income.
Yeah, I think unfortunately this budget that I used here doesn't have most of our most people who are using our Tiller Money Foundation template have budgets over in the right side. On their category sheet. This sheet doesn't happen to have that, but certainly if it did, I'll just kind of fake this in here. Of course, it's got this weird data validation here. So just give me 1 second here. So let's just say that this was our December budget, and let's just say we had numbers for all this stuff. And let's just say that your income was here. So let's just say you made $2,500. One thing so you can imagine though that there are more months, and we're just looking at just December now. You could certainly go in this sheet and create your budget as a percentage of 10% of your income, or that could be a sum if. You could basically find a way to basically set your budgets based on a percentage in your category sheet. That would also sort of cascade into your monthly and yearly budgets if you use those sheets from your foundation template. And then on this sheet, sort of similarly, I think it would be pretty easy to either hard code to that specific cell in your so you could look at basically just say equals here. You could reference this cell, which is the sum of all your recipients, and then you could just hard code right to this cell that had your paycheck for the sum of the paychecks for the whole year or your paycheck for just December, and you could pull in a percentage very easily right here. If that all makes sense. And obviously, as you change these numbers, you'd kind of be able to watch what percentage you were spending. So I think there's some little simple formulas that could help like that. Heather, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's a good explanation. I think it is an interesting observation that the budget that you're seeing here on this is dictated by the amounts you set per recipient. So in order to figure out what percentage of your shopping budget or your recipient budget is going towards gifts, you do have to do a little bit of manual math, either using one of the approaches that Randy shared there. I mean, if you set it up so that you want to say like, okay, X% of my income is going to go towards the budget, you could do it in the category sheet and then just make sure as you're planning for your recipients that it doesn't go above that might be an approach too. So good question there, Vernon. Overall, had a query on the Tiller money. Having an option to assign a currency to the accounts linked would be easier when you have multiple accounts across currency. Is this option already available? Account ABC is USD. We don't have multi-currency support right now. It is something that there are a few topics in the community about multi-currency and how to different workarounds you can use to achieve that. The data that we get that ends up in your transaction sheet or your balance history sheet, if it happens to be from an account that is in a different currency, we're just pulling the absolute value. And then the sheet itself is actually assigning the USD, dollar sign. And so if it's, let's say it was Canadian money, it's going to have that USD dollar sign, but it really is the value, the Canadian dollar value. Same thing with the balances. And so in the community, if you search for multi-currency, you'll find a few of the topics where you can kind of explore different customizations you can make to your sheet. Using Google Finance is the common one that folks use. And then they do some calculations in separate columns, but it's not something we support out of the box. So you'd really be kind of building your own custom solution to address the multi-currency kind of riddle, because we're really only focused in supporting USD and US banks right now. So just a heads up on that. Randy, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Cheryl follows up with both from the overall budgeting perspective, as well as, how to spread averaging the money. I put like $200 a month, but I spend most of it in December. So I think maybe she's kind of getting at like, she's saving up throughout the year. Maybe that's like a savings budget sort of question.
That's what I was going to show real quick.
Okay.
Cheryl, one option here is to use a new savings budget that we released, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago. I'm going to delete out the category sheet because this category sheet doesn't have budgeting in it, so it's not compatible. And then what I'm going to do is I will show you how to add the savings budget. So I'm going to go to add a solution in the Tiller Money Labs add-on. So it'll take just a second. And the savings budget, what it does is it's right here. You can see here it's telling you that it's going to add some other sheets that it needs. The categories with budget and the budget journal sheets are going to get added as well. So what this does is, I think this might help with the kind of problem you're talking about, where basically you want to sort of accumulate budget and then spend it at some later point. And I think that helps a lot of people who want to sort of say, on average over the year, I spend about this much per month, but I don't know exactly where some of these expenses are going to hit. So this is the savings budget here. And we have a category sheet here, and this should look like the category sheet in your monthly budget or yearly budget. The only difference probably is this track column, which I'll talk about in just 1 second. So at least we don't have, I'm going to just change this charity to be gifts, since that's what we're talking about. And let's just say I think you said $200 a month. So let's put $200 here, And the way these sheets are set up, you can see this formula. They basically pull from the cell before, and so basically now through the whole year, we're putting $200 in our gift budget every single month. So what's cool here is if you turn on the track and you set, sorry, let me show this. If you track this gift column as a savings, that means that whatever you don't spend in a month will kind of it'll accrue and build up. And so here you can see if we go to January, do you see gifts, Heather? There we go, gifts. You can see here in January, this is our first month of the budget. We have $200 of budget. We didn't spend anything, and we have zero kind of savings that accrued. But if we go to February, the amount that was left over from January will roll over here. So here's that. In February, now we've got $200 here. So in February, the amount available is the money from January plus January plus the February budget. And by the end of the year, you kind of get to this point, which I think is what you're talking about, where you have actually quite a bit of money sitting there with your $200 of December money, but this money here. And you can imagine that if you had actuals for these months, because we had a more accurate transaction sheet, this would run down and this maybe would get closer to zero. But anyway, that might be a solution for you to, and we have a whole webinar on this sheet if you want to learn more about it. But it might be a way to kind of level load your spending, your budgets over a whole year.
That's great, Randy. Yeah, definitely check out the webinar that we did. I guess it was maybe October, August, something like that. It's very thorough. You'll get the full treatment on that one. All right. Vernon follows up with, was very happy to have most of my accounts available on Tiller Money. Unfortunately, just didn't find my salary account, primary account, First Abu Dhabi Bank. Would there be any reason this bank was not listed? It might just be that we don't support it right now. Our data provider, Yodlee, it's the trusted industry leader in banking data aggregation, and they can support, over 22,000 institutions from around the world. Like I said, we're focused on US banks right now and USD. As far as that specific bank not being in the list, I can't say. They maybe just haven't built the integration for it. They haven't, gotten permission from the bank to build an integration for it. It could just be, maybe you need to search for the URL, for example. It could be there, but just you need to search a little bit differently. So you can try those. And if that doesn't work, you can reach out to support to just have our team double check via chat. And then if it just really isn't supported, you can always manually add the data to just kind of supplement. And we do have some resources in the Tiller Money Labs add-on for basic bank CSV importing to make it a little bit easier. And then, of course, you can track manual balances and Tiller Money feeds and things like that. So good question, though. All right. Morgan asks, would you recommend switching to the savings budget from the envelope budget? And if yes, why? I'll let you take that one, Randy.
Well, I think probably both of us should answer this because part of what's helpful, I think, with the monthly budget and the yearly budget is that getting kind of up and running in those sheets is supported by our customer support team. The savings budget is a little bit more of kind of advanced workflow that's supported in the community. The advantage of the savings budget, they're pretty similar. They use the same data set out of this category sheet in terms of all the budgets. So if you already are running, you've built your budget, you have a monthly budget running in your spreadsheet, all that data will go right into the savings budget. The advantage of the savings budget is really just that it when you don't, it's like envelopes. So when you don't spend all the budget in a category, when you overspend, like kind of that end of month balance pushes forward to the next month. So you can see here, you can end up with this kind of favorability that lets you kind of spend accrued savings if you're spending a somewhat irregular.
I'll pause you though, Randy. I think she's already in the envelope budget.
Oh,
it's an envelope budget.
Oh my gosh.
So why should she switch? That's why I was so excited to have you answer that one.
My bad. Okay, sorry. I thought you were in monthly budget. Right. So the envelope budget, this is kind of our lean and mean update on the envelope budget. It's faster. It uses a lot less scripts. It's a lot more transparent, so you can kind of go in and see how it works. The envelope budget is pretty cool. It's a little bit more powerful in terms of like the rollover to functionality. Like that does not exist in the savings budget. If you use that, the ability to sort of say if there's extra money here, push it into a different category. Here it always rolls over into the same category. But this is kind of an update that's kind of more consistent with the kind of templates that we're developing now. The there's workflows built into the Tiller Money Labs add-on, so you don't have to run another add-on. If you go here, you could basically, instead of when you type a change, like let's just say I want to move $400 from here into whatever groceries. In this sheet, you leave these changes here, and when you're ready to bump them over, when you're ready to sort of update your budgets, you basically, what did I just do, Heather? I don't know what I'm doing. So you can, sorry.
I thought you clicked the right thing.
Yeah, so basically there's a whole savings budget menu here, and when you're ready to sort of, you could basically write up a whole bunch of adjustments you want to make, kind of see them in what they look like in practice, and then when you're ready to write them, you click this button here, and they'll basically write out of this adjustments field into like kind of the permanent record for those budgets.
Yeah. So, Morgan, if you're used to the envelope budget, you're losing the ability to weekly or bi-weekly budget. Also, this is only has monthly budgeting option, and you don't have those dynamic shortcuts the same way that you did in the envelope budget. But what you're gaining is, performance. It's a lot more performant than the envelope budget. The envelope budget can, because there's a lot of heavy calculations happening, and it's relying on that other add-on. Sometimes the scripts that run every night can break, and then they don't run, and then your new budget doesn't show up. Like, you get all your future budgets and past budgets because it's just using the category sheet. It's not having to dynamically build budgets for you every month, things like that. So it's just a lot more performant, faster, won't slow your sheet down. And I think it's a little bit simpler to use and understand. The envelope budget, it is very powerful, but it has some kind of complex concepts that confuse people. And it's likely to be something that the savings budget will likely be something that we continue to iterate on in the future. Whereas the envelope budget, we haven't even touched any of that in, I guess, maybe a couple of years now. So I don't know that we will invest at all in it. And so we don't have a plan for deprecating it or turning it off or anything like that right now. But this is, a little bit more forward thinking for us. So
yeah, just two last points on that real quick, Morgan. If you go into the savings budget wiki in the community, you'll see there's a comparison. You can kind of see some of the pros and cons of each budget. And then also, if you decide you want to try migrating, it's a little bit wonky and manual, but there is a tool that we've built that can help you move over your budget so you don't have to start over. Starting over might be the simplest and cleanest thing, but if you really have a lot of data there that you want to kind of pull over, this is there's some documentation on how to do that.
That's great. Thanks, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, I think that's it. That's all the questions that we had. Unless anybody else has other questions, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today. Thanks everyone for joining us, and see you in 2021.
Thanks everyone. Good to see you.
Have a good one. Bye.